best workout programs for individuals currently ranging from ages 9 to 94. In her spare time, Regina likes to paint, build furniture, and relax at the beach.
Thank you. All right, so welcome, everyone. I'm, as Patty introduced, Regina. My background is in healthcare, and I decided to go into fitness. So my company is Modern Medical Fitness. Which little button?
Oh, yeah. Does that go? No? Hold on.
It's a good thing we have a good IT guy.
I know, right? Yes. All right. So, and today I wanted to talk about, so muscle is medicine, and it kind of goes hand in hand with my healthcare background and the fact that now I do fitness training, and why resistance training or working with weights is essential for your health. There we go. So with that, I wanted to tell you just a little bit about my personal journey. I was athletic during grade school and high school, although I did suffer with some medical issues. I was born with asthma, was in the hospital a lot, was told I would never really be able to do anything active because I had so much scarring in the alveoli in my lungs. And despite that, I still wanted to play sports. I wanted to be a tomboy, which is why I have scars all over my knees still. But I worked through that, and I was able to do a lot of different things throughout high school, throughout college that were fitness related. Then I got into the field of nursing. I worked in that field for a long time in many different areas, from critical care, labor and delivery, women's health, worked as a nurse practitioner in infertility. And during that time, it was such a stressful environment and such a reactive environment rather than a preventative, kind of proactive environment, that I had put on a lot of weight. So I gained 40 pounds. This isn't even my heaviest photo, and you can't see the rolls around my stomach, but I got to a point where I was needing to take blood pressure medication, thyroid medication. I had pre-diabetes, and my doctor wanted to put me on medication, and I knew enough to know that if I was proactive and took the right approach, that I wouldn't need to do that. So I researched trainers, I worked with a knowledgeable personal trainer, and over the course of a year, I took that weight off, and I was able to transform myself into a very healthy state where my blood pressure was normal. I was now insulin sensitive rather than pre-diabetic, and I didn't need any of the medical treatments that were prescribed to me. And so I decided to then use my healthcare background and leverage that and help people be more proactive rather than reactive, and to get themselves healthy again. Skeletal muscle is considered, it's an endocrine organ, and so it's really important. It's important as we age, it's important when we're younger, because as we do age and different disease processes could approach, having skeletal muscle on our bodies is really important in order to prevent that from happening. So, and that doesn't mean being big like a bodybuilder, it means having the right kind of muscle on your body to prevent all of those different things. So with the benefits, movement and physical stability. So our bones are moving us around all the time, and the muscles on our bones give us the strength to do that. So getting up out of a chair, being able to walk up and down stairs and not fall, all of those things that are necessary for all times in life. And having worked with someone as young as the age of 8 who can roll all over the floor and do whatever he wants is way different than working with someone who's 94. But there is no age limit to when you can start. So young kids can start to do things and get active and get their brains going, and 94-year-olds can actually work on being able to have themselves be able to get up off the toilet if they need to. So it's a different approach with everyone, but movement and stability is critical. Metabolic health. So if you think of your muscles, especially the bigger muscles in your body, they are a sink for glucose. So the more healthy skeletal muscle you have, the better your insulin regulation and glucose regulation is. So insulin is necessary. It's a hormone that's necessary to allow our sugar or glucose to get utilized for fuel in the body. So when we eat, we get fueled by either fats or carbohydrates. So those are the two fuel sources that we take in. With skeletal muscle, it allows the glucose that we take in to be actually used better for fuel. too much insulin on board, which is what happens when our bodies get resistant to the insulin, as we don't have much skeletal muscle, then we start to gain weight and it becomes a vicious cycle, and it leads to diabetes, where you have too much insulin floating around all the time, storing fat, and then not allowing you to burn fat. So it becomes a vicious cycle. So skeletal muscle is the solution for the most part to that. So it is, just think of it as a sink for glucose. Disease prevention. So not only does it help with diabetes prevention, heart disease prevention, it helps the brain get into a healthier state. There are a lot of chemicals that are produced in the brain that can build and bring endorphins up, different things called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a lot of different processes that change in every organ system in the body when you have healthy skeletal muscle. If you think of people too, so healthy skeletal muscle, just because someone's super muscular doesn't mean they're necessarily healthy, and just because someone's skinny and you can't see a lot of fat on them, they might not be healthy as well. Has anyone heard of skinny fat? Yeah, so skinny fat, I'll show you a picture of what skinny fat looks like in just a second, right? And again, like I was talking about brain health. So this is a good visualization. I brought this up in a commercial one week, but on the left you have a filet mignon. You can see there's very little fat infiltrated in the meat there. It's a nice healthy piece of lean meat if you eat it. Usually the animals that come from, sorry if there are any vegans in here, but are usually healthy animals that are roaming around and that don't have a lot of fat accumulation in the muscle. On the right side is Wagyu beef, which you can see how marbled that is. So unhealthy skeletal muscle usually has a lot of fat that infiltrates the muscle, and healthy fat has very little marbling. And so when you see people that are skinny fat, a lot of times they have very unhealthy muscle tissue, or they can have fat around the organs, so which is visceral fat, which is really bad. It's very inflammatory. It actually raises cortisol levels and really puts you at risk for many different diseases. Okay, so question is, how long and how often? I get that question all the time from people. How often should I work out? And that it's very multifactorial and it's very person independent, but it's the simple answer is, how often can you work out? So, and it isn't you thinking about how often should I work out, it's how often can you, because consistency and showing up is really important. And 1 day a week is better than no days a week. And for some people, they really have progression, especially with my older clients starting out. 1 day a week is great. You can get a great workout in. Is it ideal? Probably not, but for some people starting off, it's better than nothing. So if you can make that work, it's a great place to start. If you think of an airplane that's starting off and it's going from here to New York and it's changed by 1 degree of flight, it will probably end up in a completely different state. So that little tiny variation, that little change of 1 degree actually can change the end result substantially. And so that's how I like to think about exercise. Even the tiniest change of getting and doing something, 10 minutes of walking after meals to start, and then just slowly incorporating something with resistance training. It could be body weight, it could be band exercises. It doesn't have to be anything that you have to go to the gym for, especially initially. There's something called newbie gains. So newbies that are not used to exercise or haven't worked out before will actually have a lot of neurologic adaptation and a lot of changes in their body that occur. And then once they see that, it really is encouraging them for them to continue to working out. When I started working out, I was working out 1 day a week with my trainer. That was it. And I felt a million times better. I saw progression. Then I started with 2 days a week, and I went with that for a while, and then I went to 3 days a week, and that was it. 3 days a week of 30 to 40 minutes of weight training, and that's all that was needed. So it's very person dependent, but it's what works for you. The starting point, again, is it can be at 80, it can be at 8, it can be wherever you are in life, but the most important part is that you're starting, and if you haven't incorporated a program in, that you just think about adding something in. Existing injuries. Oh, I only have a minute left. Existing injuries are really important. It's something that needs to be evaluated. I work with each client, and I base what I do with them based on any injuries that they've had. It's what you like and dislike. So if people hate doing one thing, then we're going to work around that, and we're going to make it something that they enjoy so they can feel passionate about coming in. What equipment do you have? Body weight is fine to start. Bands are fine. If you have weights, you can use them as well, but there are multiple things that you can do. It's not a one size fits all. Budget is another consideration. That's something to factor in as to whether you want to join a gym, if you need to stay at home, if you can hire a trainer, different things like that. So that's basically what I look at. This is individual variation. I'm not going to train the person on the left the same as I would train the person on the right. It's completely different. So it's a very individualized approach. Key points: consistency, full body compound movements that can be taught correctly. The foundation is critical. Keep it simple. You can do 30 repetitions or 6 repetitions as long as you're getting close to a point where you're fatiguing the muscle to failure of form. You will see the same end result. So you don't have to start lifting heavy. You want to start lifting light so you can allow connective tissue time to build up so you don't sustain an injury. Soreness does not equal effective. Do I have like 30 seconds? Sure. Okay. Soreness does not equal effective. It's a big myth out there. You can get a little bit sore after a workout, but you should not be debilitated. I like my clients to tell me that their pain score is like a 0 to a 2. If it's more than that, then I've had them do too much, and it's going to be a longer recovery period for them, which means they're not going to have the adaptation. They're going to be healing, but they're not going to be adapting. So it's really important to know that you're getting enough from the workouts. And you should feel energized. So basically, you should feel better after you work out than before you did. This is just an example of what I would do with someone starting out. So these would be basic exercises that would be enough for someone to start a program. And that is my gym. I have a private gym where I work with people one-on-one in Laguna Niguel. And I don't know if I have time for questions, but.
Yeah, maybe a couple of questions.
Any questions? Okay.
I have a testimony. Excuse me.
Yes.
I have a testimonial.
Oh, thank you.
I've been working out with Regina off and on now for what?
A long time, 10 years?
10 years? 10 years probably. I know I don't look like it, but no, she is outstanding because she's very sensitive to certain symptoms. Like I have really noisy knees. And the first time she heard them, she stopped. What are you doing? It's just like, as it turns out, they're fine, but so she is very sensitive to those kinds of things. I think the medical background makes a huge difference. And she will only push you as far as you want her to push you.
Yeah, it's really important to be able to get to know each client. I can tell when someone walks in the door how they're feeling, and I will gauge and I will ask them questions every single time they come in, and I will gauge that workout to what they need for that day. So it's, I don't have like a program that's just on paper that we're gonna follow. It depends on how they feel that day and then what they have going on. They may have had a bad night's sleep and that increased the risk of injury substantially, so we're gonna go a little bit lighter that day, so.
Do you do dietary recommendations of like food, different macros? Do you do all the macro stuff?
I do, I help people with nutrition, yeah.
Nutrition.
Yes. Yes.
I'll second the testimonial, and I'll try to be as quick as I can. There's so many things that I could say thank you for and show you appreciation for. We've been working together for, what, 3 or 4 months now? So the sampling size is very small, but my experience with you has been exponential. When I first came to GEMS in January, I think it was, I had already gotten back into the habit of getting healthier again. I had started at about 245, 250. When I joined GEMS, I think I was around 210. When you and I started working together, I was north of 200. Now I'm just under, I weighed myself this morning, 90. Going back to one of the things you had said earlier, one of the most important things that I've accomplished with you is not about, and I do look better. My arms, I'm like, holy shit. You know but one of the most important things I've gotten from working with you is the mind shift we were talking about earlier. I'm not looking at the scale like I was before. It's more about the journey, and I'm looking forward to next time we do the scan to see that kind of result as opposed to gauging myself and my success on the scale. I'm making that mind shift. If anybody wants to get healthier, what she has done with me on my diet, and I was really good about my diet before, just the tiny little tweaks that we made have made a difference in my weight and my physical being. And I'm walking taller, I'm going up and down the stairs with more confidence, because of my GBS.
Yeah.
I have seen emotional and physical results by working with you. If anybody has any need to dietarily, physically, whatever, Regina is your girl.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you,
Pat.
Regina. So please, you guys set up time with her to do one-to-one so you can learn more about
Thank you.
what she does.
That's by so fast.
Not